Welcome back to another vlog, you guys. Doty here, and today what we got to do is get this car cleaned up because tomorrow, I'm gonna probably try to post this same day, but tomorrow, Saturday, I'm going to Cars and Coffee here in Folsom, California. So some of you guys are asking, you know, when can I see you at a car show or car meet? Well, I gave you guys short notice, I know, but I will be at Folsom Cars and Coffee tomorrow morning. It starts pretty early, but you can definitely count on a lot of cars, and of course I'll be vlogging there as well. What I mean by the lazy route is I'm going through a touchless car wash and I'm just gonna detail spray it after. One, it's pretty cold for me. I mean, I'm wearing a t-shirt, I know, but I just don't want to get out there. I have other things I need to get done today, so I just want to make this nice and quick and get it all nice and cleaned up for you guys. So that way I don't have a dirty car, Cars and Coffee, where there's gonna be Lambos and Ferraris and all that, and then a dirty little black Mustang. I don't want to be that guy. I'm already at the lowest end of the totem pole there, so at least make it look nice. Doing the old 10 buckaroonie wash here. Now we gotta slowly come in here and not curb our wheels, so that would suck. Man, my airlines are really making a lot of noise. You hear that squeak? I guess I'm just the big baby that takes it nice and slow. Oh, hello. We need that up. I can't believe I almost just came into the car wash with my window down. I almost would have been that guy that just gets soaked in the middle of the car wash. That would have been absolutely terrible. Probably hilarious for you guys, but terrible for me. And now we just wait because this thing's gonna do all the work for us. And also I air up all the way just so it can get like the wheel arches and stuff like that as best they can. So hopefully we get nice and clean. Fresh out of the car wash. So now what we're going to do is go on over to the warehouse spot. And during that, you know, they have the little air dryers, but during that I usually try to get up to highway speed at least and dry this car off, because it saves you about, I don't know, 15 minutes. Literally the worst part of drying or washing a car is the drying part. So as long as I don't have to dry it for as long as I normally would, I'm happy. So as minimal drying as possible. Also, because I have the open grill, there's like steam coming out of my front grill, so it looks like my car's like overheating. We are not overheating. It is 189, which is perfect temperature. I did the oil change and I thought I did everything correctly, but I checked the oil because, you know, I check the oil every once in a while to make sure we're not doing anything stupid. Checked it and it was like way over, but I kept like retrying and everything. And this is why the engine was warm. And it seems like I overfilled the oil, but I don't know how in the world that could happen because I used the 5 quarts, it's just a jug. And then I literally kept the other jug that I poured in from the other to make it 8. And yeah, it has 2 lines left, so 2 quarts left out of 5, so 3 quarts were poured in, and I don't understand why it would be over, but I'm just being extra cautious, I guess, because I'm very paranoid about overfilling with oil or doing anything wrong with the car. I just want to make sure everything's done properly. So I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it and it's just like dragging some of the oil on the dipstick. Don't really know, but I'm always gonna keep an eye on that oil just because you do not want to run your car without any oil, or else you're gonna get the coyote tick. It's not gonna be the coyote tick you thought there is, but a new coyote tick. It's gonna be pretty serious. The car is totally warmed up. Let's check what the oil is now, because it's been like annoying me how it keeps moving on me. Yeah, see, I just don't get it. It's like, I mean, okay, I know you're not supposed to do it off the first try, so we'll clean it. Biggest thing I've heard about overfilling your oil is that you can aerate the oil, which is like whisking eggs or something like that. So I do not want to do that, because then your oil, your whole engine tolerances also just go out the window once that happens, and not good for your engine, so I do not want to have that happen. So now on to the topic of this video, which is the airlift suspension. So airlift suspension comes in 3 different managements. They have the suspension, which is the actual coilover looking thing. It's not a coilover, but they have all of that, and that's specific to cars. Like your BMW has a different setup, and that's just a different part. But the only thing that's consistent throughout all of the cars is the management. So now what the management does is it's what actually controls the air pressure. There's 3 different setups, like I mentioned. There's V2, which is like your oldest, lowest end, or least expensive. There's 3P, which is what I have, middle ground, it's pressure based. And then there's 3H, which is height based, which uses these little arms that look like servos from like RC cars and stuff. and it uses that to actually measure the height through a height measurement, like an inch or a millimeter, I guess. And what it does there is it just keeps the car level throughout all the heights. What you are currently looking at is the ride height setting. So there's 3 different settings on my controller, which I'll show you in a bit. But this is my ride height. So this is literally the height I can drive the car, not worry about scraping on the freeway. I can go around town and everything like that. And I don't have rubbing on my front fenders. I don't have rubbing in the rear because of my wheel and tire setup. I have plenty of clearance right there. And it just gives you a lot of flexibility. And it looks awesome. Like, this is the perfect amount of lowering, I think, for a Mustang. Before I was on these bags, actually I was on a Coney Yellow with iBox sport lines. Now, that is a lowering spring and a very high-end strut setup, and it really did handle really well. It was nice and stiff, gave you lots of response and everything like that. However, you were stuck at that height, and it was about this height. So it was pretty low. Like, it was a pretty aggressive look on just iBox sport lines and Coney Yellow shocks. I'll probably throw up a photo right here of one of my favorite shots from actually this area with my old setup and my old wheels and all that. But I really liked how it looked. It was meaty, aggressive, and it was perfect. It gave you that mean look. But the big benefit of the airlift setup is that I can literally change my heights as I want to. So let me go ahead and air out and show you guys one of the biggest features, which is the air out setting, where this thing just gets completely dumped and it lays on the ground. 3P, I changed my settings based off of my pressure. So this is 0 PSI, it's obviously gonna squish because there's no pressure in the bag. However, the higher the pressure, the higher I can go up. But there is a max height because you've extended the bag as max as it can. Whew, having some trouble speaking there. However, the height sensors, that uses a height base, which is also pressure based. And the way that works is that you can set different heights and it'll just be really accurate and dial it in. So that way your car doesn't have any body roll or anything like that. It's pretty interesting because what it does is when you turn, it's not an open valve. So it's not just allowing all the pressure to go out and then in and give you all that body roll. What it's doing is it's blocking it off. So that way if it senses it, it's gonna keep the pressure in the outside bag and keep the pressure on the inside bag. So therefore it doesn't have as much body roll. So then turn a 2-liter bottle sideways with soda in it and then go back and forth, get into that groove and that motion, you'll start to feel all the weight go in and out. And that's pretty much what can happen with old school bag setups. But the way Airlift has done it with this, it's pretty good. It's pretty stout. Right here is the bag strut, and this adjusts the damping. So what this is it's kind of controlling how fast it's compressing and releasing. So like the oil that's inside here, it's basically gonna adjust how comfortable your ride is. There is a happy medium on those because if you get too tight, you're just gonna be bouncing all over the place, which I've done and it's hilarious. You feel like you're a bouncy ball. But if you get it too soft, that's when you start to introduce more body roll, just because everything's a lot more plush. But there's a happy balance. Now that we're inside, this is actually my controller. And so this right here, this like Airlift logo, this is my ride height setting. So if I double click that, it'll go to ride height. It's obviously not on right now because the key's out. But this would be my high, this would be my low, and then this is my air out. So you have a couple different settings. I guess you could actually have 5. I just use 3. And then each corner has its own controls. So as you can see where my thumbs are, I can individually control the pressure, AKA the heights of every corner. So if I just want my right up, my front right, I can boom, boom, you know, air up, air down. It's actually a really cool setup and it gives you a lot of flexibility so that way you have all of your heights while also maintaining a good ride quality. And I also, it's a little bit of just like the look people give because whenever you air out, I'm sure you guys heard, it gives a very loud tss, and I really like that sound. I actually always make the joke that I'm purging nitrous, which I've never had nitrous in my life. I actually have a setting on my remote so that way when I start the car and it's aired out, it'll protect me from driving because right now I could not drive. I couldn't move the car. It's sitting on the tires on my fender. So what I have in my remote is actually a setting so that whenever I turn on the car, it'll automatically air up. And what that means is it's gonna start filling my bag. So you will hear my compressor start to fill the tank because the tank filled the bags. So let me go ahead and start it up and just show you guys what I'm talking about. So you'll see this go up, we're moving. What it did right there was basically air up and then level out. So it kind of overshoots and then comes back down to find my pressure, which is 50 PSI. And as long as you're within 1 or 2 PSI, you'll be good. So right there, I just clicked it and you heard it go tss. And I don't know if you guys can hear this, but let me close the door so that way you don't just have exhaust. Oh, close the door all the way. Can you guys hear that? That is my compressor. So my compressor is currently running. I have it to shut off at 150 PSI, which what I've noticed from when I have it 100 PSI in the tank, it takes 50 PSI to drop down and fill up all my bags. So what I'm going to do now is click on my get up over speed bumps setting, which is that green. So I clicked it once, see how the numbers change? So that's ride height. So it's flashing, it's setting it up right there. But if I click this one, see how the numbers get higher? So if I double click it, there goes all the pressure, we're raising up, and then boom, because we're not at 150, my compressor just kicked back on. It really fills up pretty quick, but it does go often. So every time I air up, it starts the compressor. There are setups that have bigger tanks or multiple air tanks that you don't have to have the compressor run. And then there's also setups that have 2 compressors, which make it even faster. So I think it's like almost double. It's not totally double, but basically double. That if you had another compressor, which you can add 2, I guess you could, yeah, you could add 2 right now for 3P. So if you had 2 compressors, you have multiple big air tanks, you can just have those 2 compressors, fill them all up, and then go up and down multiple times without having to kick them back on again because you have enough air already stored in your air tanks. So right there, it already turned off. And now I'm gonna show you guys the fully maxed out height. So right here is my fully aired up setting, which is, I guess, what you could call stock ride height, because it's not completely crazy ride height, like it's not angled up, but you can see it's definitely got a lot more room right here. I was completely aired out where it was tucking that. And then my splitter is up off the ground just so I can get over the speed bumps and all that. I still angle just to be safe. There's zero way to do that when you're static, and that is truly one of the reasons why I went with bags, is because I knew I was gonna take this car places where I didn't wanna be stuck because I couldn't get in or couldn't get over the speed bump or through this super sketchy, super tight driveway. I didn't wanna have to be stuck and not be able to drive this car. So I put the suspension on with the airlift, 1, to obviously get that super slammed, sick look, but then 2, to be able to actually drive the car, feel free to drive it, and go anywhere I need to go. It's obviously more expensive too because there are more moving parts. It's basically like wiring a speaker system mixed with suspension. So if you can do coilovers and if you can install a subwoofer, you can install bags. And I have a full video 2-part series where my buddy and I completely installed this. And you can get these setups. I think this 3P for Mustangs with everything needed is around $3 grand, $3,500. And so you can definitely save up a little bit. It's basically double the cost of coilovers, but it is double the amount of work to put into it as well. But once it's in, you don't have to worry. Make sure your hoses don't have leaks, because I haven't had any issues. I mean, yeah, when I first did it, I had to redo some of the lines, or at least redo some of the fittings in the bags. But after that, it was done. So a little bit of troubleshooting, just really good planning and really taking your time, and you don't have to worry because this has been very reliable. I just want to add another compressor to make it a little bit faster, plus it acts as a redundancy in case one of my other compressors goes down. I at least have one to be able to fill up air. Trunk, you're gonna find an explosion of detailing stuff, but once we clear that out, this is my setup. So I have a single 2-gallon tank. It's all hidden. Hold up, let me get a better grip. A single 2-gallon tank, a single compressor. I want to add another one over on that side, and then all the wiring and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. Doesn't look good, but I want to improve on that. I also have plenty of room in my trunk, even with the subwoofer. I mean, if I didn't have that in there, it would be way further back. However, I did want to still have enough room for like golf clubs, luggage, anything like that. Really just an all-around great system, and I've loved every minute of having it. It's something different, and it's become more popular. Like literally, I just saw an RS4 on bags right over there, and he left and like skirted out. I wanted to get it on video, but I missed it. I do think 3P is like the perfect middle ground as far as reliability, and that management has a lifetime warranty on it. So that's something I want to mention too. If your airlift management ever goes out with 3P, lifetime warranty. If you guys are interested in more videos on my Mustang and as we take it to the drag strip, even bagged, then definitely subscribe. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.